and welcome to an Equity Guru Investor Roundtable. I am Rob down here in the basement with my pal Galen, who's over there making banana bread.
Oh
I can
yeah.
smell it. You didn't even have to tell me, I can smell it. Good. Chris Perry, the guru himself, is up there in the far corner, looking awake. And straight up, straight up is Vishal Vatura, who not only will be telling us a little bit later about the charts involved with Kermode Resources, but he will be also launching it for us today. It is the TSX is the exchange. It is KLM, not to be mistaken with the airline or confused with the airline. And it's Peter Bell, the CEO. And there's some interesting history. This is one of the more unusual conversations we're going to have about the recent background of a company as we go on to the Investor Roundtable. Vishal.
All right, thanks, Rob. So Kermode Resources here, it's a junior explorer, market cap of around just a little over $2 million. So it's one of these exciting plays that is very early stage, but when I mean exciting, I guess maybe it's just me. I really like the mining industry just because, it's all about guessing what could be under these land packages that this company has. Next big discovery, perhaps. And of course, a lot of these junior miners do promise that. So currently, there's one property that they own. It is the Vedette Lake Gold Camp in British Columbia. And recently, there's 3 letters of intent here to acquire the Rye Patch Silver Mine in Nevada, Little Bay Copper in Notre Dame in Newfoundland, and also Sea Horse Saddle in Australia. That's a bit of a tongue twister there for me. I really want to focus on the Rye Patch Silver Mine, not just because silver is my favorite metal, but because it's been it was the headline, basically, the most recent news that came out on March 14th, 2022 was about the geochemical sampling that Kermode has done in that area in Nevada. So the letter of intent is to acquire basically these 2 land packages, which are called Alpha and WS. Basically, the WS package is the one that many people think is the interesting one because there's already 10 claims on that package, which is actually covering this previous silver mine called the Green Monster Silver Mine, which was active between 1936 to 1967. And there hasn't really been much, any drilling really around that area since then. And Kermode is essentially, they believe that there's something there, and a lot of these other companies basically were negligent and didn't create a larger resource at that area. So there could be something there, and I just want to show you guys quickly, not Peter Griffin eating a sub there, but basically the assays here.
What?
Wait. Let's get back to Peter Griffin.
Wow.
But I mean, basically, there's a mining term. It's called a glory hole, which are these assays. So
interesting choice.
There's a little picture here of Peter eating a Subway sandwich there. But basically, these are the assays that came out this month, and there's 2 holes here that are of note, which is SO2 and R762. And notice why. It's because take a look at some of that grams per ton of silver. 2,605 grams per ton silver and 1,091 grams per ton silver. So, very early stage, like I said, but there could be something there.
What the hell? Sorry, that's just a crazy amount of grams per ton.
Yeah, it is, right? Okay, I was like, so yeah, very, very large amount, and that's the exciting thing about this. $2 million market cap company, some land packages here that could be very prospective and could be something there. So that's what I have for you guys to start it off.
That hole looks like there's an old timer at the other end of it going, or a Scooby-Doo villain about to rip his mask off.
Getting more bizarre by the moment. All right, Chris, you spoke to Peter Bell. What was your thoughts?
So the backstory on this thing is it's been around for a long time. It hasn't been rolled back ever. If you went back to the very get-go, the most it's kind of got to is about 55 cents. It is at about 1.5 cents right now. So you're at the you're at the bottom in as much as there's not a lot left to go down to at this point. Peter Bell and Peter Clausey went ahead when this thing was being sold at half a cent per share and nobody was buying. They went and vacuumed up a whole bunch of it, then took over the board, kicked out the non-functioning executive that had been there basically just accepting a wage for the previous several years and not doing any work, and took over essentially a shell company for about $300,000. Cheap way in, but once you're there, you've got to actually do something with it. The company didn't actually have a property, didn't have a reason to be, and so these guys are doing the cleanup right now. It's at $1.50, which means they've tripled their money. But is there still ground for you guys to look? It's a $2 million market cap right now, which is pretty small. It's not like, it could get smaller conceivably, mathematically, but these guys are actually doing some work now, and the idea of taking this thing over was not so that they could then sit on it for the next 5 years like the last guys. It was so they could actually get some things going and do a bit of work. Peter Bell is a bit of a man about town, a young guy who's, I guess, cut his teeth investing in resource companies. He's been around the scene for quite a while. He's reasonably well respected, I would imagine. It certainly hasn't killed anybody that I'm aware of, and hasn't destroyed any companies that I'm aware of. Those who hang around CEO.ca have probably seen him there as Newton for some time. The guy knows people, he knows his stuff, and his plan here is to just go in nice and cheap, things are moving, do a bit of drilling, not try and break the world when it comes to putting together a 43101 that is, a giganto, but to just progress this thing along so that people who've been underwater on the stock for a while can get some value back for their money. Peter Klaus is an activist shareholder from way back. He's the archetypal activist shareholder. If he takes a piece of your company, he's coming for your board next. And in my dealings with him, he's always been the sort of guy who just rails against those who destroy shareholder value and wants nothing more than to just make everybody make money. If you go and look at my gauntlet video with Pete Bell that I did last week, it's a pretty long one because there's a lot of talk about why people don't understand that this is a small business and a small town, and people talk. And if you treat people the right way, you get good people behind you. If you treat people the shitty way, maybe you get a bigger win, but you also get a shorter career. So for mine, Kermode, I don't even really care what LOIs they have out there right now. Like, honestly, God, if they bought a couple of Christmas trees and sold them off the side of the highway and made a little dollars on it, that they're doing better than they have for the last 10 years. So anything that these guys do that is just slightly progressing the company forward, it's going to be a win on the share chart. It's going to be a win for everyone involved. So at $1.50 per share, if you buy in today and you sell for 2.5 cents a share next year, well, you've done a good return on your money. So it really wouldn't take much to get this thing up to 10 cents. And, you can do the math on what that's going to bring you for your casual wager. I trust these guys, and that's a lot more than can be said for a lot of resource companies who tend to just be in the business of telling a good story but not ruining it by actually sticking holes in the ground. If for no other reason than to just support the good guys doing the right thing, I would put money into this.
Galen, you heard the man speak during the interview and all that. You've looked at some of their properties. What do we think?
Well, I mean, I'm aligning with Chris in this fact, just that it seems to be that these guys have seen a bad situation and gone in guns blazing to correct it. And honestly, just the way that Peter conveyed himself in talking about the drama, I guess you could say, and then their mandate going forward. It's starting out and it's, at 2 cents a share and not a lot going on, but they're trying their best to just keep moving forward. This is a thing where you look at the management and you go, do I believe in these guys? And quite honestly, after listening to Peter for a little while, he's really energetic. Not that that's the key, but it seemed that he was full of integrity. Like, he was being honest about it. And as Chris said, it is at such a level at this point in time, your mere investment could push the stock value up. So it's an opportunity in and of itself. And I think even in the short term, if you just put your money in and then boost it and then try and just sell a little bit, you'll get your money back, right? But if they actually make any kinds of news with the properties they do have, or they make any other acquisitions or sign any other letters of intent and continue their exploration forward and actually build on any kind of resource, then yeah, you're looking to make a fair bit of cash in a certain sense. We're still a long way from discovery, but I mean, we're definitely at the basement level as far as news flow is concerned. So they just have to start turning some rocks over, and there's some value added right there. As Chris said, Klausy and Bell, I think, are in there to do the right thing. They're not out to just take your money and keep the lights on, and there are a lot of juniors out there that do that. That's why it's a highly speculative industry to a certain extent, the junior mining industry. Yeah. You got to really know your thing and trust the people that you're going after. And I think these guys have potential. And just by the mere fact of where they're at, there's a lot of upside.
It's like normally you're betting on the team and you're betting on the whole, right? Yeah. And both are a complete roll of the dice. On this one, Pete Klausy's made his name by not being the douchebag, right? He's the douchebag that kicks out the douchebags and then tries to turn it around and make it into something. So, if he comes up with any new deal, I'm shoveling some cash towards it because, he's blazing away with the righteous indignation sword, and the streets will run red with the blood of the fallen. It's back the good guys. Now, you still have the issue of, is the whole going to produce? But at least that's the only question, right? It's not a question of, will my money get taken away to the country club and I'll never see it again.
Vishal, what has the chart been doing?
So before we look at the charts of KLM, quick little review, I guess, of gold and silver. Pretty decent day on the day we're recording this. Gold is still above our support of 1880. Silver is actually still above our support at 2450. I just mentioned this because usually when gold and silver do move higher, of course, the gold royalties, the gold miners, the majors, they'll move up, but so do the junior miners as well, right? Especially if the gold and silver continue to move higher due to geopolitical risk or inflation and that kind of stuff. So keep that bigger picture, that larger picture in mind when you look at some of these smaller cap companies, the juniors especially, because, as we mentioned, it is a bit of a gamble, right? It is a bit of a risk to invest in some of these juniors. But if gold and silver do move up quite substantially, the juniors are where you're going to make a lot of, good gains, right? Because when you're moving from 2 cents or 3 cents to maybe, 10 cents or higher, it's a really decent return there for your money. Before we talk about, I guess, our allocating our funds here, Kermode, let's just zoom out here, show you the larger picture. And, we talked about hitting highs of 55 cents way back in 2006. But essentially, I don't want to complicate this too much. I just want to show you guys that, yes, you can clearly see we had a downtrend. And then, we had a range. And the stock was basically ranging since like 2013, really. And we just recently broke out of that range, actually way back in April of 2021. So since April of 2021, now I'm going to zoom in. You can see that this is sort of being the price action for a bit over, not just a year yet, so under 1 year. So this has been the price action, and we've just been basically hovering at 2 cents right here at the bottom, and the highs of 4.5 cents. And right now, we are at the 2 cents levels, and you guys can sort of see these little just like dashes that I have on my charts, and those are because there's days where the stock doesn't see volume. So there's been quite a few here in the past week. One big red volume on the what is that? That is the 14th of March, and then we haven't had much substantial volume since then. But 2 cents, you're at a very, very important support level for the stock, really, because that's essentially the zone where we broke out of, which, we haven't broken out of that zone for, like I said, since 2013. And we are back there now. So, as Chris and these guys all said, the risk to reward, I think, even as a trader, there's something you can work with, right? With the stock at 2 cents, at a major support level, especially if you're still backing gold and silver. I think there's some excitement here. And if there is, just a really good assay or drill hole that comes out, that could get the stock bumping once again.
All right. So when we say penny stock, we're talking penny stock, and
Pretty much.
yeah, we're talking Kermode. And are we talking boom boom or no boom boom, Chris Perry?
Look, what I love about a 2 cent stock is, okay, it can go to zero, sure. It probably won't. It'll probably go to 1 or a half cent if anything. But so you might lose 50, 75% of your investment. Okay, let's lay that as the ground floor.
Yeah.
But if it goes to 4 cents, well, then you've made 100% of your investment. If it goes to 6, you're at 200. If it goes to 10, where it goes to 15, like, you're making back multiples. Your downside is always 100%, but your upside can be thousands of percent. And for a 2 cent stock to get to 3 cents requires one person to have a little confidence and just buy everything on offer. Admittedly, there's a lot on offer at this particular stage. This has been a dead company for several years, a decade even. And there's probably people that are still in there that got in there at 30 cents and 50 cents. So as it does come up, there will be selling pressure all the way. But if they can get enough news and show enough activity and convince people that this isn't a zombie company long enough for it to get over 5 cents, then you don't know where it's going to go from there. And honestly, if Pete Clouds could come in tomorrow and buy this thing up to 10 cents, drop of a hat, they're going to be buying cheap stock whenever anyone sells it. The question is, do we get enough people into this thing where it starts to actually vault? I think give it a month, 2 months, 3 months, you'll find that. But you'll also never know when it's coming, right? You wake up one morning, they'll have taken a property out that's got some real guts to it, or they'll have stuck a drill in the ground and or they'll have found $50 behind the seat cushions in the cafeteria, right? All of the above will make this share price go up. So at 2 cents, I'm playing big boy at the table with your money. I'd probably have a look at the level 2 to see how much is actually is on offer at 2 cents, 2.5 cents, 3 cents. But I'd use your entire 7,500 and buy this thing up until no one was prepared to give me more.
Wow.
A big old stake of a company that hasn't been blown out share capital wise, right? They've never been rolled back, but they've also never blown this thing out to a stupid amount. So, this is a comfortable little spot. They can raise money and not get stupid. All they're going to do is just show a little bit of work. And I think that I'm confident they'll do that.
7,500 bones, Galen.
Make that stock move.
Well, I like Chris. Think there's a real good opportunity to be a market maker in terms of just investing in the company, and then suddenly, wow, the stock is up. Now, my only, not concern per se, did he mention, and I could be wrong, I thought I heard, Chris, when you were talking to him, did he mention, sorry, what's that again?
Oh, I said with 7,500, you'd be buying 375,000 shares at 2 cents.
Now he's
definitely moved the stock.
Now, how many shares are in total? Did he mention something about wanting to do a rollback? Was that his thing?
I think he mentioned that he wouldn't mind doing a rollback, but there's no emergency to it.
Okay.
There's 100 million shares out, right? So it's $2 million market cap at the current state. So there's no oh my God, that's too many shares. You've got to do something about it. If the situation arose that he needed to do a bigger financing, you'd probably need to do it at 5 cents or more. So they might do a 2-for-1.
There you go. And carrying in at 2 cents, even if there is a rollback to 5, so they can do some financing to do some exploration work, which would only then add some accretion to, or accrete some value. There we go. That's the word. They would accrete some value when they actually stick the drills into the ground. So, it's probably a no-lose situation somewhat. Yes, as Chris said, this could go to zero. But, that's the risk you will always take. but the upside seems to be pretty big in this. And hell, it ain't my own money, so I'm going to be dropping in 7,500. It's all your bill, man.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to see how this puppy goes. I want to make a market move on my own investment. That's the thrill for me.
So we
You
just
guys will
made
be the
this thing
market
go
makers.
up to 3 cents.
Love it.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so it is hypothetically my dough, but you are hypothetically taking the risk. You're borrowing this money.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'm never paying it back, dude.
All
Consider
right.
that stuff gone.
Because you have to convey to the viewers, like a true, ooh, would I do this
Will they do it?
scenario?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Vishal.
Yeah, so both Chris and Galen here. Chris gave a great detail about that risk reward that I was talking about. Right, at 2 cents, the risk to reward is very, very appealing. Because yes, can the stock go to zero? Sure. Could it go to 1 cent? Yes, but I think the upside potential. You can easily double your money when it goes to 4 cents here or 4.5 cents, where it's actually tested before. In the past. So, as a trader, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, yes, I really like what I'm seeing here. You guys know I like my precious metals. I prefer investing in, I guess I would say, companies that are a bit more advanced, the royalties as well for my larger positions. But there is going to be moves in the juniors, right? I think if I am bullish gold and silver, some of these juniors that are very early stage will still just move because it is a gold stock or it is a silver stock. So I do think it's good to have a few of these junior companies in your portfolio. And, as we said, they are a bit riskier because technically they have to raise money. They're not making any cash. We don't know what's in the ground. And this is why, management is key to a lot of this. I'm going to be throwing in 1K here. Just because, like I said, it is a bit more of an earlier stage project. And I would use my money in other gold and silver like projects or stocks that are out there. But I really do like the space. You guys know I'm really bullish the space. It's just, I think I would put in 1K now and then wait maybe a few months just to see what kind of news comes out, what kind of drilling comes out. Because yes, these initial drills here, the assays at 2,000 and 1,000 grams per ton in silver, pretty nice. So I just want to see if that will develop. And of course, that does mean that I would have to miss out on some of the move because obviously when that news comes out, the stock will probably pop a bit higher. But that's the risk, right? You just don't know what could be under the ground and what could be there. So I'm just throwing 1K here right now, and then I'll wait to assess to see if I add a bit more. But don't let that distract you from the fact that I'm still bullish gold and silver for the long term.
That's okay, Vishal. Chris and I will be going to Mexico, and you'll be buying margaritas.
Actually, I got some bad news for you, Vishal. I just took out all the 2 cent stock. There's nothing left.
Oh no! I'll be buying in at 3 or 3.5 cents then. From
3.5 now.
I prepared the bell. I thought possibly I had the bell poised in case you went full in, but not bad. We have 2 full-ons and then a grand for Kermode. That's $1,600. No, that's $16,000.
Yep.
So yes, the price would be going up.
Oh yeah.
It is KLM.
It just went up.
It just went up just talking about it.
He's talking about how he's going to wait for dips.
Yeah.
I left him nothing but rips.
It's KLM, just like the airline. That's the stock symbol on the TSX Venture Exchange.
Hey, you know why it's KLM?
Why is it?
Because the last CEO, his wife, that was her initials.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's nice.
That's so weird.
Peter Bell is the current CEO.
Running your company properly when.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not just there for frills.
You name your thing after a toilet, and you give your wife's initials. I mean, who needs an MBA?
Exactly. They're based in Victoria, by the way, and the Venture Exchange is KLM. We are providing you some information here, but you need to please seek out your own research and education because we can't guarantee our, instructions, nor can we guarantee that past performance will bring about future performance. related to what we say or not. So get out there and check it out. It's KLM. It's Kermode Resources.
Not Kermode.
Not
Kermode.
Kermode. Yeah, not Kermode.
Kermode. Not
Yep.
Kermode.
Yep.
That's a different story. For Banana Bread Boy and for Vishal and for the Guru himself, I'm Bobby, and we'll see you on the very next Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.